It's time for the Rose Chat Podcast, a podcast dedicated to celebrating the world's most beloved flower, the rose. Join award-winning gardeners Chris VanCleave and Teresa Byington as they chat with rose lovers and experts from around the globe. With each episode, you'll gain valuable knowledge and insights to achieve the rose garden you've always dreamed of. Listen now as we explore the world of roses.
Try Haven brand soil conditioners, providing generations of gardeners with a truly all-natural alternative to chemical fertilizers with their line of composted manure and alfalfa teas. Easy to brew and use on all indoor and outdoor plants. Find them online at manuretea.com.
Hey friends, Dr. David Zlesak is back today. He's going to tell us all about the roses that are winning awards through the American Rose Trials for Sustainability, also known as A.R.T.S. Hey David, welcome to Rose Chat.
Hi Teresa, I'm excited to be with you again.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. Now David, for our listeners who may be new to these trials, could you tell us about the work of A.R.T.S?
Sure, I'd love to. So A.R.T.S, the American Rose Trials for Sustainability, began in 2012 when All America Rose Selections disbanded, that industry-led group that was around from 1938 to 2012. So a number of us that were part of different rose research projects and wonderful collaborators at public gardens recognized that there was a need still for rose evaluations. And by spreading out the people that are involved in the trials, so it wasn't all just industry-based, that would help create a trial that would be strong, broad, sustainable moving forward, and less susceptible to the ups and downs of sales in the industries and in the industry, members going out of business and new ones coming in. So we started the program with the idea that we need to survey American consumers, public garden professionals, garden center professionals. What is it that you value in your roses? And from that feedback, we created the evaluation protocol that is the foundation for A.R.T.S. And not surprisingly, everybody had similar priorities. Mm-hmm. So roses that were healthy, that didn't need preventative pesticide sprays in order to perform well. And as we took all that feedback, we put together a monthly evaluation protocol that has about 45% of the score attributed to the health of the foliage. So we need a strong plant in order to produce those blooms. As the leaves defoliate and fall off, bloom production is compromised. And then another about 40-some% of the scores is flowering. So plants that flower consistently month after month, that provides that beauty for people in their gardens and their landscapes, was highly valued, of course, as well. And then the final, about 10%, is attributed to overall plant form. So people want roses, at least bush roses, that are symmetrical, that are full, mounded, and have just a beautiful shape. So we did our homework in order to create the foundation to have this trial be successful, move forward with truly meeting the needs of American consumers. The trials are held at typically public gardens around the nation. There's some university-based gardens as well. And the roses are evaluated over 2 growing seasons, rated monthly. And some things that help set A.R.T.S apart is the elevated scientific components that we put into the trials. Not only a relatively objective set of parameters that we evaluate every month, but also the fact that the multiple plants of each variety at a site are not planted together. They're spread out, they're randomized, they're given enough space, at least 4 feet apart, so we could see each plant develop to its full potential and look at its overall form versus having all of them crammed together in a tiny little plot. We take data on each of the plants. So that gives us more information to work with so we could do statistics. And then in order to make things much more objective for what roses win, what we do is we plant in every trial, right alongside the trial roses, industry standards. And right now, the industry standards that have performed well in our past trials over the years that we use are double knockout and sunrise sunset. These reference or control cultivars, their scores, the average of their scores, form the benchmark by which the trial rose has to meet or surpass in order to win. We know that year by year, growing conditions are different. So having a consistent score in order to win doesn't make sense. So having those reference cultivars right with the overall pack of trial roses and using their average as the benchmark is what we use. The roses, they're not sprayed preventatively or sprayed at all, actually, throughout the trials. They're given enough irrigation in order to establish well. They're not fertilized with traditional fertilizers. There's good soil prep with compost, pre-plant, ongoing mulch layer that is added to maintain the few-inch layer. As it decomposes, it provides more nutrition. So we're not trying to overly push the roses so they don't harden off for winter. We're trying to give them good typical gardening or garden conditions that the homeowner, that the landscaper would provide. The awards are given regionally. We know that across the nation, there are so many different climates. And in order to create our climate areas, what we've used is what's called the Köppen climate system. So ecologists use this climate map, and the regions are delineated based on a combination of not only temperature, but also precipitation for moisture, because the combination is what especially drives what kind of diseases come into an area, as well as other parameters of plant growth. So what sets A.R.T.S apart compared to other trials that are trying to do things regionally is that instead of just dividing the nation in straight lines, we recognize that with mountains and other features, precipitation and temperature, that they don't follow straight lines. So we use this system. And as you go to our website, you can see a map of the United States with the different regions delineated by different colors, see where you're at, and then click on the corresponding region to find your winners.
Oh, as a backyard gardener, it makes me feel so good to know this kind of work is going on. You know, the success rate that I'm going to have by following the roses that you have recommended through the trials is going to elevate the success that I'm going to have in the garden. It makes all of your work worth it to me.
Oh, I'm so glad. Our purpose is to be able to sort through these newer roses and those that prove themselves in a particular region. The goal is that we can communicate those roses to the consumers, and there's a high likelihood then that they will be successful as well if they give these roses basic plant care. So our website that reflects our goal and what we do is www.trustedroses.org. So as people know that roses have performed well, that have met these criterion, hopefully that gives people confidence to try roses. And if they're a little gun shy, if they try ones that have won in their region, chances are that they'll be successful.
Excellent. So tell us some of the sites where the trials take place.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I know that there's listeners all across the country. So as you look at the website, you'll be able to see the sites and see where's a site closest to where you're at. And most of them are open to the public. They're not behind, gated areas that university trials. But so a number of the sites include Burner Botanical Gardens, Green Bay Botanical Gardens, Ryman Gardens at Iowa State, Naugatuck Valley Community College hosts a site out there in Connecticut. In California, we have the Fullerton Arboretum, the Magnolia Botanical Garden in Mississippi, at Louisiana State University, at the LSU Ag Center Botanical Gardens in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There's a site, Midland College in Texas, the Portland International Rose Test Garden. So we're grateful working with all these wonderful team members in order to make these trials possible. It's a volunteer-based trial, so we depend on the trial site managers, the volunteers that come and help take care of the roses. We have a wonderful evaluation protocol and training manual for those that do the evaluation. We're an official 501c3. We went through all the paperwork and parameters, have our bylaws and conflict of interest mitigation protocols in place. So we're basically a grassroots effort with just a lot of great partners and able to pull together such an incredible program.
So many good things happening, and we do applaud our volunteers for help making it happen for sure. Now, David, let's get to the pretty stuff. Let's talk about some of the recent winners that our listeners may be seeing for sale at their local garden centers.
That's exciting, Teresa. It's always fun to think about these roses and think about their unique characteristics and what we may have a little more room for in our gardens. So ultimately, what we recommend is that people recognize what roses won for their region and focus on those. But here are some that have won multiple regions that I just love to highlight. And just because they're the newest winner, that doesn't mean that they're the only rose that met all the trial parameters. So if you go to the website, you can see ones that have won last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago for your region, and make your choices based on the roses that most inspire you. So for 2022, so for this season coming up here, there are 12 different winners across the country, and some of these roses only won in one region, some won in up to 5 regions. So the rose that won the most regions is a rose called Pink Freedom, and it is a pink shrub rose, and it's bred by Christian Bedard of Weeks Roses, and it's sold through Spring Hill Nursery online. So hopefully in the future, Christian was very excited, recognizing how widely adapted it is, and there may be some efforts to get it through some other supply chains as well. So besides Pink Freedom, some other roses that are just wonderful as well are 2 roses that are part of the Champion series through Greenleaf Nursery, and they sell plants through a program called Garden Debut. So we should be able to find those roses in our local garden centers. They're not sold bare root, they're sold as finished roses that navigate through the supply chain to box stores and independent garden centers. And these have won in the 3 regions that blanket most of the eastern half of the United States. And one of them is the Champion Sunblush Rose. And I love this one because the flowers open a beautiful yellow. They're single blooms, and they're born in massive clusters. And by the next day, they become a magenta pink. Mm-hmm. So it's just a festival of color, and the transition of color as the sun hits the petals is just spectacular. It's classified as a shrub rose, but it has a tight habit like a typical Floribunda rose, so lots of blooms, beautiful symmetrical plant. This one, as well as the other Grand Champion red rose, were bred by Mian de France. And then the Champion Sunblush Rose is a joint effort with Mian and Will Rattler, the breeder of the Knockout Rose out of Milwaukee. And then the Grand Champion Red Rose is a beautiful double, clean-looking red one, beautiful symmetrical plant habit, beautiful blooms, similar to double Knockout, but the blooms are a little bit larger, and there's maybe a little bit less of them. So more effort and a little bit larger bloom over the perimeter of the plant. Just gorgeous.
I get to see pictures. Sorry, listeners, but we will put them on our show page. And of course, go to trustedroses.org to see them. But these are absolutely beautiful and just blooms all over the shrub.
Yeah, another one for those that love hybrid teas. That one in 3 of the regions is one called Pinkerbell. And Pinkerbell has a wonderful light pink mauve color, and it has darker flecks or stipples throughout the petals. It has a wonderful fragrance and fully double, just a gorgeous rose for cutting. And it's also bred by Meand. Golden Dragon is by Ping Lim, a beautiful yellow rose, double rich yellow rose, and Ping is a breeder at Altman Plants. Besides these roses and suppliers, I want to highlight also one from Spring Meadow Nursery, which is based out of Michigan, and they're the ones behind the shrub component of the Proven Winner brand. And their shrub rose At Last is also a winner. So it's a beautiful double apricot rose, grows like a floribunda. I think it might be officially classed as a shrub, and it has a wonderful, delightful fragrance.
I have At Last. I've had it. This will be its 4th year, and it was pretty. I bought it. It was blooming. It did well the first year. It did outstanding the second year, and even more outstanding last year. So it is definitely a huge winner in my garden.
That's great to hear. Yeah. So there's many roses that have won the A.R.T.S award. And as people go to their region and click on the website, they can see the roses that have won. So some regions have more winners than others, and of course it's based on roses doing well in their climate. And over the years, we've had over a dozen different nurseries enter roses. So we're gaining steam, we're gaining credibility with the rose industry, which is wonderful. So with the disbanding of All America Rose Selections, a lot of the industry members were a bit gun shy starting to participate in another trial because they weren't the ones controlling it. They had to trust the partners here that were managing the trial as well, and then just take the risk that maybe their roses don't do well everywhere or don't win awards. So we're grateful that we've gained their trust. We do things to help protect their trust as well. So we only showcase the roses that have won. We don't put out publications that showcase all the roses that didn't win. So being an A.R.T.S winner doesn't mean that other roses can't do well for you in your region. It's just that these are the ones that have proven themselves, and we want to showcase those to the public. And that's our approach of our program.
Well done you and your team for sure. So when will we hear about the next round of winners?
That's a great question, Teresa. So what we love to do is announce the following year's winner in the May issue of a trade magazine called Nursery Management. So for instance, the 2023 winners, everything is in place here for us to have the debut article in the May issue here in 2022 in Nursery Management. And so the reason why we do that is so garden centers, landscapers can see the latest winners here as they book orders for the next year. And then through that trade magazine and that debut article, that hopefully allows the garden writers to know what the winners are for the next year and begin thinking about, press releases and popular press articles that they put together on roses. So the listeners can first know what the 2023 winners are. I'll give you a little sneak preview. There's 6 of them in May of this year. And Nursery Management Magazine, even though it's a trade magazine designed for the professional members of the industry, so the growers, the purchasers for garden centers, landscapers, it's available to everybody, and there's wonderful articles in there for all of us. And we can go to their website, so it's nurserymag.com, and we could look at current past issues. So keep an eye out for when the May issue comes live, and you'll be able to see the article highlighting the 6 2023 A.R.T.S award-winning roses.
We love behind the scenes and that new information. This week I did go to the website and I get the email too, but I just searched A.R.T.S and there were so many good articles about your program. I couldn't believe it. It was so great. Some of them I had seen, but not all of them. So it was fun to get caught up on all the things that have been going on. So it's a great online magazine. So well worth the time of going there and just signing up to receive the newsletter.
We're grateful for the partnership with them to be the place where the newest winners are always debuted. And then from that article, other industry outlets, press releases, newsletter blurbs, Greenhouse Grower Magazine, other magazines, they'll take that information and continue to share it throughout the industry and get it in the hands of the garden writers eventually. So we're really grateful for that partnership here with Nursery Management and the great editor over there, Kelly Rhoda.
Well, I've had the pleasure of getting to trial some of the roses here in my garden, and they just do so well. One of the ones I wanted to mention that I know had been a winner was Easy on the Eyes. It is an absolutely showstopper in the garden. So friends, check that one out. Easy on the Eyes. It is another multiple region winner, and it has a fragrance. I mean, it's like it will stop you in your tracks in the garden. It gets so much attention when people come to visit the garden. It's pink with a blush of more purple in the middle. It's a single petal, absolutely stunning in the garden, and a just wonderful fragrance. So when you go to the website, get ready. There's so many beautiful roses for you to see. So you want to click on your region for those that are going to do the best in your area. David, we appreciate your team and all the volunteers and the work that's being done on this. It makes a huge difference in growing success. You're doing all the work that we don't have to do, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much, Teresa, and I'm grateful for all the members of the team, and maybe if there's some listeners out there that would love to get involved, maybe there's a trial site near where you live, we welcome you, and we're always looking for more trial sites to blanket the regions even better. So if maybe your local Rose Society, Master Gardener group, a group of people that love roses that are near a botanical garden would love to explore the possibilities to host a trial, please reach out to us through the website, and we'd love to visit with you and explore the possibilities. Thank you so much, Teresa, for this opportunity to share about A.R.T.S.
Well, David, it's wonderful to have you. Wonderful to catch up on these beautiful roses. And friends, thank you for joining us today. I hope you heard of some roses that will be wonderful in your garden as you're making your list. And you'll be better armed when you go to the garden centers and the big box stores for the roses that you see there. Now, remember, you can find more information on the A.R.T.S trials and see the pictures of the past winners simply by going to trustedroses.org. And until next time, happy gardening.
You've been listening to the Rose Chat podcast with Chris VanCleave and Teresa Byington, expert rose gardeners who want to help you achieve the rose garden of your dreams. Don't miss an episode. Listen anytime on our website at rosechatpodcast.com or listen on the go via the Rose Chat app on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Share this podcast with your social networks and join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by using the hashtag RoseChat. Join us next time for another edition of the Rose Chat Podcast. The Rose Chat Podcast is a production of the Rose Chat Media Group, Birmingham, Alabama.